Good evening and welcome into another edition of Star V Sundays, the Cowboy Hat edition.
Well, heck, we're going back down to Austin to kick some ass. We might as well get ready for that one.
There we go. So we're not. People probably look at us and go, "Don't come from Broadway." we're not partying on Broadway. Joe may have last night after the win.
No, we didn't find Broadway, but we did celebrate with a few friends here and there.
Had to.
But it was a fun time, man, especially when you got game day in town.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, how about that kid from Vandy, the student that just drained?
That was unbelievable.
From 33. I mean,
$500,000, $250,000 to charity.
Yeah.
And he said to he told Pat McAfee that he kicked in high school, and I was talking to some students before when they knew that he was going to kick, and they told me that and that would have been good from 50.
Yeah, he smacked
that.
It. He hit like a kickoff too. He landed on his kicking leg, which is usually what you see on a kickoff. But he absolutely demolished that ball.
I mean, perfect form. Like you knew that thing was going in.
Good for him, man. He just put a nice little check in his pocket.
Yeah,
and he got a good bit for charity too.
Oh, so. absolutely. Well, we want to introduce ourselves with the cowboy hats. Obviously, being in Nashville, I gotta be presentable later tonight, so I'm gonna let that thing go. Here, I'll give you this, Joe.
Just put it in the background here.
Good little start though. And you saw some scenes obviously on Saturday at College Game Day over on Wyatt Lawn, and obviously we're coming to you live from the South End Zone. We're actually right inside the new Hendricks dining facility, which isn't, they're not using it yet, but once they move from the old one to the new one, they'll be in here. But looking forward to this one. We should have quite a few live viewers and obviously some people going back and watching and listening to us. So we appreciate you guys hopping in. Again, another episode of Star V Sundays alongside Joe Bulovas. I'm your host, Billy Derrick, and obviously each and every week brought to you by Joe himself from Bulovas Wealth Management of Raymond James. If there's one thing we all share, it's that our lives are all unique. At Raymond James, they believe that's worth celebrating because financial planning isn't just about numbers and figures. It's about creating the life that you envision. So whether you're building a future or preparing for retirement, let Joe guide you each step of the way, all while following a plan that's uniquely yours. That's life well planned. Give Joe a call, 615-645-6742, or log on to the website, raymondjames.com/Bulovas Wealth Management. Again, Raymond James and Associates Incorporated, member New York Stock Exchange, SIPC. We'll get to your theme a little bit later, Joe, but Vanderbilt gets it done, 17-10 over the Missouri Tigers. It was an ugly win. It was not pretty. It was a slugfest. All the words you want to use to describe this. It was overall just ugly. 3-3 at the half, and we'll dive into the numbers and get some analysis. And obviously, we want your comments, your live questions, if you guys want to end up talking to us. But Joe, ugly win, but every championship team has an ugly win throughout their season.
A win is a win, too.
Right?
Count your blessings. We got out of that one with a win, and I know you ask anybody on that team, did we play our best game? Absolutely not. But at the same time, you did just enough to win, right? It wasn't a catastrophic setback by any means, but there's lots that they can build on from that game. In my opinion, especially, I'm going to tip my cap every day of the week. Hell, I'll buy that whole defense and Nick Sheridan dinner for next month or so from what they did, because Missouri's a really, really good team. Mm-hmm. They're a very complete team. They almost beat Alabama a few weeks ago. They're a really sound team, and they do a lot of things the right way. There's a reason why there's going to be so many guys going after Eli Drinkwitz this offseason. Mm-hmm. But, man, great teams find a way to win when they don't have their A game.
Yep.
And I think Vandy didn't have their A game, especially on offense. They struggled a lot, and thank God for MK Young deciding to come play here in Nashville. He did a fantastic job. Basically our offense was pretty stalled, and he created a spark with that 70-yard run that he had to really flip the tide for us.
Yeah.
And we were talking about a good bit in the past few weeks of these marginal games where you have those 3 to 5 plays that change everything in the course of the game. So,
yeah, by the way, I'm trying to – this camera focus
looks a little blurry.
It wasn't blurry.
It wasn't as blurry when it was a little bit closer.
Yeah, let me
adjust that a tad.
I'm going to adjust this. But, yeah, Joe.
That seemed to help.
How's that? You mentioned MK Young, and he's a guy that when he came to campus, we had talked about him, as a potential guy that Vanderbilt could get coming out of New Mexico State.
Right.
But he didn't play football last year.
Yeah.
I mean, Joey Dwyer from Vandy on SI has put out a great story about last year. He was cleaning toilets and, just not. I mean, he was thinking about football, I'm sure, and
Right.
probably wishes he was on the field. But I mean, for him to take a year off, essentially, come back to football, and this is not just any level of football. This is the SEC, the highest level, and the last couple of weeks, I think he's really shown us his abilities. And last week he was clocked at 22 miles an hour against LSU on that last run late there in the fourth quarter. And now yesterday, the 80-yard run, you could argue that was the game. And CJ Hurd's basically destruction of that mesh play there was huge too. Yeah. But you don't win that game without MK's touchdown. Well, and obviously Pavia's as well. But MK's broke the game open. You broke it open. You took a 7-point lead. But in that type of a game, a play like
momentum's
that
everything.
Can flip it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess it just kind of shows just how important key position players are that Barton and Coach Lee have brought in. Like you talked about CJ Hurd, MK Young, these guys that, well, I love the term that Coach Lee uses, it's band of misfits.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, these band of misfits are creating a lot of value for themselves and this program collectively.
Yeah. Hey, head body, Joe. Come on, you step back into the fire.
Yeah. Sorry, we had someone who went by with quite a few trays on this. I don't even know, the little dolly thing. So we are in
no food for us though.
No food for us. We're not that cool. We haven't paid our dues, I guess, enough. But hell, MK did a hell of a job, and so did CJ Hurd. Those are the two guys that really stand out in my mind of creating a lot of value for themselves and finally getting that opportunity to shine.
Yeah.
And it's this point in the season where you have a handful of guys each game that start to kind of be the turning of the tide for each game, like having a very meaningful impact. And yesterday it was CJ Hurd and MK Young on offense.
The two defense. Stars, yeah. I mean, we'll get into more of the game and obviously again take your live comments and questions. But I want to start with, and we're talking about the game, but I was down there at College Game Day on White Lawn backstage, which was crazy. I mean, it was having watched it as a kid growing up, starting at 10, 12, everybody watches College Game Day.
Everybody does.
I mean, whether you're a 10-year-old and you grow up wanting to play the sport or just love the show, whatever it is, or you've got college and high school athletes that get up and watch it. You've got older fans that get it's a very wide array of people that will get up and watch that show. And for Vanderbilt to be the talk of the country for 3 hours really was huge for them. And that show has changed. The last time it was in Nashville was 2008.
Oh yeah.
And I actually we got to talk to Herb Street in one of the availabilities, and I asked him how it feels different. And Herbie was like, "Oh my gosh, it's a legit show production. I mean, the amount of equipment and the amount of manpower that it takes and the amount of cords and trucks. And I mean, it's crazy. And so for Vanderbilt,
it's a huge deal.
Yeah. For them to have the spotlight, I thought was huge. And it was, Clark even said it too. We're going to have to battle through some of the background here.
We've been hit with some pretty significant adversity already with this podcast. So, what's a little more?
Hey,
head body, step back into the fire. Relentless, 100 people, face painted, spears forward, ready to ruthlessly charge the opponent.
Yeah.
By golly,
and apologies.
If he comes back over here, I'm gonna lose my mind. Just kidding.
Apologies for the camera too. I may try to look into that.
Just scoot it forward.
Might try to do that. But Joe, I mean, I know we still got the audio on. I know you were watching. You weren't down there, but I mean, it was quite the scene. And Clark's interview, you also had the feature on Diego, which is like 3 or 4 minutes. But I mean, there's nothing like that level of exposure. Like you can't match that.
No, you get such a spotlight. And I will say the entire time that we had game day, even from the time that it was announced, from I guess it was like Sunday or Monday of last week, to yesterday, and I know it made a lot of people worried, is the fact that we kept talking only about Vandy, and there was no talk about Missouri. It was like the spotlight was totally on us here at Vandy, which is great. But at the same time, it gives Missouri a lot of fuel to their fire to try and make a name for themselves against Vanderbilt. But I was really for Vanderbilt to have this spotlight like they did, man, they deserve it. Game day is a really big deal. Anytime it goes to any school, it's an honor because they don't go to crummy places. Like they go to places where there's great teams, a great matchup, and a great environment. And it's been long overdue to be here at Vanderbilt, but it's so fitting that to make this team 7-1, they're here for that game against a quality opponent. And of course, they were literally only going to be black and gold.
That helps. Yeah.
With Vanderbilt and Mizzou, both black and gold teams. But so happy that they had it here. And props to kudos to everybody that went out and made the effort. Yeah, because that it takes a lot of buy-in to make something like that happen.
Well, and it's a marketing monster for your school, for your program.
I mean, we had Kenny Chesney and Dirks Bentley performing on the Wyatt lawn.
Yeah,
how cool is that?
There was a picture of Pat McAfee stood up on the chair. This was actually after the show ended. Took his shirt off and threw up the anchor. And that picture was awesome.
Yeah,
like Vanderbilt, for those 3 hours, they had control of the college football world. They averaged 2.2 million viewers. At least last year, I think, was the number like over the whole season. We'll see what it is this year. It'll probably be higher. But the students showed up. They were loud. They were camping out the day before, starting at like lunchtime. And, I got down there at 6 a.m. and they was already full. Yeah. I mean, the energy was great. And I think as the game day people would probably tell you they would rather go to a site like that with that much energy. They were responsive and they were booing certain things. And they, there was a lot going on as opposed to
really solid.
They were.
I love seeing some of those things.
Some of them were awesome. But sometimes as game day, you go to sites where you've been for 30 or 40 different times, and they may not have as much energy and are as responsive.
Yeah,
but
it's
Vanderbilt
not as much as a treat for them.
Right.
It's kind of like they always come here at least once or twice a year. I know when I was at Alabama, they came a good bit.
Oh yeah, at least once a year. But
maybe it was probably about at least once a year. Because if you think about it, if you're a highly ranked team, chances are and when you're in the SEC, you're gonna have another really high quality opponent. Probably about every week.
Right.
So if you're looking for a top 5 or 10 matchup, I mean, you look at Georgia in the years past. But I was so grateful that Vandy got this exposure because I think the sky's the limit for this university and the program. But people know now that the flagship for your institution from a marketing standpoint is football.
Mm-hmm.
All the big schools realize that. That's why they're the Blue Bloods. They live and die by their football team for marketing purposes.
Yeah.
But creating a buzz in this city for Vanderbilt again, what did it? It was football.
Yeah.
You can only do so much with basketball or baseball or any of the other sports. Football in the South primarily, man, that is your ticket to having all the success you want as a university.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they got that spot.
Yeah, and it shows the school pride, the pride for football.
Yeah.
Right. You're in the South, you're in the middle of SEC country. And I think for the rest of the country and anybody watching to see, Vanderbilt cares about their football program. Their students love their football program.
Are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah,
too.
and they're rallying behind it. Yeah. And I think Clark he's worked really hard to cultivate that football culture within the campus, and obviously in the community, because there's lifelong Vandy fans that have lived in Nashville their whole life and went to game day and have always been in Nashville. But for the students that may be from California or New York or Chicago, wherever, or even wherever it may be.
It's
international.
It's like a call to come home now.
Right. Right.
And there's a buzz about it. They have a reason to do so. We've created something here in Nashville that's so unique and so special that every Vanderbilt alum can be proud of and want to be a part of again. If maybe they're distant or haven't been as involved in helping out the program or being supportive in whatever way they do it. But now it gives them an opportunity to really solidify themselves into that again. So I'm really excited for what's to come from the alumni perspective because of what we've done. I mean, hell, look at this place, man. It's phenomenal.
It's incredible, and
it's truly like Field of Dreams, man. Build it and they will come.
Literally, I think there's a sign. If you build it, they will come. And there was a sign with an old grandma. It said 78 years later. I don't know if that was from. Did you see that one?
I did not see that.
Okay, I don't know if it's from a movie or what, but yeah, there were some good ones. Tim Corbin wouldn't leave for San Francisco. Talking about Vitello. They were good, and you saw a little bit of your. One thing I was also impressed by, and we'll get to the game. You assume in Nashville, Tennessee fans may take over. You may see some orange or Bama and some other SEC fans.
I didn't see any orange.
I saw some, but it was not.
There, so.
Yeah, but like on TV, the scene just looked incredible. I went back and watched it this morning, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
It was cool to see because, where they did game day at Alabama, the other school I went to. I knew where it was, but where they would set up shop. But I went to school and I went to all these classes that were right in the backdrop of where they did game day here at Wyatt, and I had class at
Wyatt.
The
freshmen. Well, those are the freshman dorms, right? Or that's where a lot of the freshmen live near Wyatt. I think that's what I heard.
There's stuff near Wyatt that are dorms. I had several classes in Wyatt. I don't believe it was.
Looks like a bunch of classrooms.
Yeah, it's an old building, nice on the inside, renovated and stuff. But that whole area, that quad,
it was a perfect backdrop.
I graduated the second time after my second degree here on the Wyatt lawn. So right where they were set up is really where I grabbed my diploma. So it was really cool to see that.
Yeah.
And 3-4 years ago, game day would not have come. And now to see where it is now, and it was just a really cool experience.
Yeah.
I was blessed to be able to be a small part of everything here, and it's, I've said it a million times, man. It's so fulfilling to see what's transpired here, man.
Well, and all week we talked about, or at least a lot of the talk was, how does Vanderbilt respond? How do you continue this and respond to success with game day, with all the eyes on you? They responded. Now, it wasn't pretty, right? And you talk about being proud of the camp. Yeah. I don't think many people in attendance, and Missouri fans too, were proud of the product their team was putting on the field for a lot of that game. And I think officiating was less than stellar.
It was spotty.
I would say
it was very human.
Yeah,
humans make mistakes
on both sides. But Joe, Vandy now ranked number 9 in the AP poll, so they move up one spot. It'll be number 9 Vandy at number 20 Texas next weekend at 11 a.m. So early morning kick, road game. Feels like Vandy's been at home. I know it's just 2 games, but nice for Vandy to win these last couple games at home. Now you got to go on the road and play a Texas team that we'll get into that Texas team, but probably nice to go on the road, see what the challenge is.
Yeah, it's going to be a tremendous environment for them. Every SEC team has a tremendous environment to walk into. It doesn't matter if you're playing at Georgia, you're playing at Texas, Mississippi State, LSU, wherever it is.
Yeah.
Which LSU, we probably talk about that a little bit here in a second.
Yeah,
a lot of news
testy.
getting
It's getting warm
right now. I know my buddies over in Louisiana are probably itching for the card to fall one way.
Yeah.
But anyways, Texas, they do a phenomenal job of playing as a team and finding ways to win.
Yeah.
They haven't been as stellar as that they want to be, but I do think
they did it last night.
They found a way to win. Like Vanderbilt, we didn't play our dominant football, but we did enough to win against a very high quality opponent,
a really good team.
And so, I mean, hell, they're a very good team.
I think Missouri. I mean, they still have a shot at the playoffs.
That's what I was about to say. Is I think Missouri's going to be in that talk at the end of the season because they've
got A&M this week, which they can win. I mean,
it's A&M's one of those teams that we don't know yet, and it's crazy to say that, but like they beat the shiznit out of LSU, which I mean, a lot of happy Bulovas people in my family because they all went to A&M and stuff. Hell, my
that's right. Yeah,
now. So
they took over that stadium. Gosh, at least at the end of it,
they travel well. But A&M has historically been one of those teams that has done really, really hot, and then struggled and just couldn't put it together.
Yeah.
I don't see it that this time around, but they're going to have a couple more tests coming up that are going to allow them to figure out what kind of team they really are in the late hunt here.
So Texas, obviously next week, this is the first time, Joe, that Vandy has won 7 games before November since 1915. So
we had a team back then.
That's the thing.
I think
we're going so far back.
They were playing in their knickers and stuff, man.
I don't even know if they wore helmets.
I don't think they had helmets. That might have even been before the Leatherhead days.
Yeah, I think they
when the baseball players, they used to wear what they would call knickers. And stuff like that. I think they were still. That was the same thing with football too. Like they had their high socks and like their glorified underwear.
Who knows what the jerseys were and what kind of material they, or what what kind of socks who knows. But the first time Vandy has beaten 3 top 15 teams in the same season as well. And look, South Carolina right now, they're not a top 15 team anymore, but at the time they were a top 15 team. LSU, same thing, number 11, I want to say a couple of weeks ago. And now yesterday with Missouri. But Joe, before we dive into the game, I thought that was the best Vandy crowd that I've ever
I thought it was the best
experienced,
other than Bama last year. But
right. But I thought Vanderbilt had, what would you say, 70% of the fans in the stadium?
I would say close to it. Yeah,
65.
I think that's about right. Yeah, 65 or 70%. Which for here, that's a really good number.
Yeah, and they were into it. I thought they
Our fans did a nice job.
I thought they affected the game.
They were loud. Our student section was loud. I hope by not too long we're going to have the student section being overflowing,
right?
And expanding on that. But man, really proud of the Vandy fans showing up because they did a really nice job.
You get into the game, Joe.
Not much to talk about.
I know. Honestly, this could be a shorter one because we could just say ugly game. All right, see you guys.
We'll fill in with some coaching talk in Texas, but plenty to talk about. This game, very very pretty easy to sum up.
It was. I thought it was a great start by the defense. Obviously, Missouri won the toss and they took the ball first.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought at first Vandy won another toss, which I was talking to somebody before the game. Vandy has won every toss except for yesterday. At least, coming into the game, Missouri takes the ball first. Vandy forces a 3-and-out. You had an early drop there from Junior Sherrill. I think it was.
That was tough.
And I went back and watched that. That just hit off his shoulder. Like the defender didn't really make a play on it. I mean, he made a play on it, but he didn't get a hand on it.
Right.
So, and then you also had, I thought Joe Brandon Fontenette played the best game of his season specifically. I thought
when you don't hear a DB's name being called,
right,
or number being called, it's usually because he's locking his guy up.
Right. Nobody's ever throwing at him.
Yeah. And he's the type of guy I think he's gonna be an NFL guy.
I think he is too. He had that huge tackle for loss with loss of like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
For Missouri
he makes plays when we need guys to make plays. Just like CJ Hurd. This past week. Guys are stepping up and making plays. Rando's been here for a little bit of time now. CJ's a new face. Came from FAU. Phenomenal young man. Very quiet guy. All about his business. It's been a pleasure getting to know him a little bit. But those guys are just making plays, man. And Rando's one of those guys that had the sky's the limit. And CJ's a younger guy too. And sky's the limit for him as well. There's a lot of guys that have so much potential on both sides of the ball. That are just now getting their names out there. Rando's been one of those guys that we talk about all the time because he's that talented. But there's a lot of guys I think are going to make a name for themselves this year and next year.
And then on the offensive side, Joe, there just wasn't much room on offense. And credit to the Missouri defense with Zion Young and Damon Wilson and Jeremiah Trotter, number 40, the linebacker. I thought was all over the place. I thought their DBs were solid. Toriano Pride, this is a talented Missouri team that,
did you see their D-line?
I mean, that's
those
a
are
big,
some big fellas.
And
you do not want those cats falling on your legs.
No. And they're well coached too. Corey Batoon, their DC is really.
He was at Ole Miss for a long time.
Yeah. Yep. Really good DC. I thought Kirby Moore, and I'm sure Missouri fans may want a few plays back. I thought he called a good game. But Vandy was backed up on offense too many times as well. And Clark said that after the game, especially in that first quarter, Joe.
Our defense.
Vandy wasn't winning the field position game.
No.
Like Vandy
we got slaughtered in the time of possession.
Slaughtered in time of possession.
Did you know those numbers? I mean, it's like 66 to 33%.
Yeah, it was.
Like it's literally 2/3
You look
to
at
a
the
third,
stats.
something like that.
Vanderbilt should not have won this game.
Yeah, that's the type of
I
game we squeaked out.
Right.
You know?
I say that. I don't think Vanderbilt didn't deserve to win the game.
But if you look on paper, you're like, I think Missouri won this game. If you take out the scoreboard.
But that shows you the character and that Vanderbilt can win in different ways. And I told people on the pregame show, take the under. And I think you agreed too that this was going to be a low-scoring game.
It ain't going to be a shootout.
It was going to be a battle. And look, I know there's going to be some fans that are upset. And, look, I can understand it feeling like a loss because, quite frankly, it did. I mean, look at the stats. But you won the game. You're 7-1. You're fine. Everything's still in front of you. Yeah. And to get out of this, Joe, with a win, Missouri, say Missouri on that Hail Mary, they score, go into OT. Vanderbilt still could have won the game. It's not, Vanderbilt did just enough, especially at the end. The CJ Hurd play, I told Chris Lee in the booth with around 7 minutes to play, and we were both talking about this. Man, they need a turnover. And they got it.
Yeah.
And their defense continues to make plays when their offense needs them to. And, Joe, the other thing, I was talking to this about Chris, too. They were giving up some points to the likes of Utah State. And, Utah State is a good offense, but they look a lot better in SEC play. Am I wrong about that?
No, I think you're right, dude. I mean, they've played a really solid game every game they've come out. Now, there's been a lot of bending. Right. A lot of bending, but there hasn't been much breaking. Right. Yeah. Vandy has done enough on offense and defense to keep them on the winning side of these games. Right. Obviously, we dropped one Alabama where it was just a little too little, too late in that game. But I'm really impressed with the defense, man. That especially after a game like that. Like I said, hell, as alumni, we need to pull some money together, just go buy those cats lunch for the next month or so.
Yeah.
Because holy cow, they were out there for, let's just call it maybe 70% of the game. And that is a ton of time to be out there because Mizzou is a run first team, control the ball, control the clock, finish with touchdowns, long methodical drives. That wears down defenses.
Yeah.
We don't have, a ton of depth. We have more than we do in years past, but our guys were out there almost the entire game, and they did a phenomenal job of capping, when they got gashed and capping the losses. So bending but not breaking, but those guys fought their tails off on defense.
Yeah,
and I could not be prouder for the way that they battled because that's a great offense. It didn't matter if their starting quarterback went down; they did not miss a beat. They kept pushing our defense and attacking, but our guys shut them down.
Yeah.
Shut them down. And I'm proud of them, man.
And Clark after the game talked about when you get inside the 20 as a defense, their thought is, okay, we've trapped the offense. It's going to be harder for you now. And I think a lot of defenses feel that way. But for Vanderbilt right now, that's the way they know they can play in order to win games and keep teams out of the end zone. Now you may get and look, it helped them on that field goal. It was a chip shot field goal instead of it being 6-3 Missouri. Vanderbilt gets the ball back after that missed field goal, the old doink, and then MK goes 80 yards. So that's the reward for that.
Small margins, man.
Exactly. You talk about small margins. This was a perfect example, and Clark talks about this before seasons. He's done it the last couple of years. There's going to be 5 or 6 plays throughout a season.
No. You're quoting me. You're mistaken. You're quoting me.
Well, this is Joe and Clark are one and the same. But
if I shave my head, we would look oddly similar.
But that's yesterday. That's what that showed.
Yeah.
That there were 2 of those plays yesterday. The CJ Hurd play and MK is like it's
to flip it to what a little bit to what you just said there. And if when we're on the goal line, in the it's I forget the timing that we had left in the game. Maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes left.
Yeah.
And I think it was Seti where we gave the ball to Seti and thank God they reviewed it and said he was
Oh my
down
gosh.
before they stripped it
Well,
from him.
the ruling, how do you initially rule that a fumble?
Well, a lot of times, see, that's one of the things when I saw it happen in the game, I was like, Billy and I are going to talk about this tomorrow in the podcast. But typically what the refs will do is they will allow the play to go through because they can always go back and say, hey, he was down, ball's on this yard line with this amount of time on the clock. But if they let the play, if they blow it dead and it really was a fumble and the defense recovers it or something like that and runs it all the way back, but they blew it dead, that doesn't count. So that's why if you see a turnover, typically on a fumble, they'll let the play run out so they can go review it if they want to or not.
Okay.
But it gives them an opportunity to get it right. But I thought it was so blatantly obvious that, like, forward progress stop, knee down, then the ball comes out. But at the same time, our guys got to know ball security is the number one priority when we have the game in our hands, and it is our job to go knock this thing through the goal line.
I knew it wasn't a fumble really after watching like one replay.
I mean, I know Coach Lee was having a little mini heart attack on the side.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. Joe, you get into the second quarter. You had penalties galore. Delay a game and then unnecessary roughness on Jordan White that derailed Vandy's third drive. So they didn't get any points there. By the way, the game was pretty chippy. Obviously throughout, and that started
chippy.
at the coin toss.
Very chippy.
Zion Young, great player, was talking back and forth with Pavia, and that's going to happen in SEC games. But I think this stadium sort of lends itself to a lot of, because it's really, if you know what I mean, because the fans are kind of on top of you. It's not the the 80,000. It's very intimate.
It's intimate,
and
stole the words right out of my mouth, man.
And Vanderbilt's that type of team. They enjoy the talk. Now, not going overboard, but they enjoy competing and
you got
playing
some guys
the game.
that'll gladly go overboard if coach wasn't their head coach. Man.
Oh my gosh.
But I mean that's just natural. You're gonna have those types of guys that are gritty and emotions run high in these types of games. Both sides understood what was at stake here.
Mm-hmm.
Mizzou now, I mean they got to pick their heads out of the sand and go find a way to make it happen for their season for what they want to accomplish. But Vandy, we also understood what was going on too. And when you have a lot of passionate players, that blood's going to get hot and stuff's going to happen on the field, man.
Yeah, it was a war up front on both sides of the ball.
And just so everybody out there who's watching this, if you could go back and look at their D-line for Missouri, that gives you a pretty good understanding of what we were up against.
Yeah.
Their linebacker room, their D-line are really solid. They do a really good job on defense. They're in every game because of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And our guys played a hell of a game. They battled. Did they see as much success as they want to? No, definitely not. But go look at some of these guys' size on Missouri.
Yeah.
And Mizzou's always been that way. Even when I was playing at Vandy and when I was at Alabama, like they've got some cats.
Yeah.
And they can make stuff happen. Like, they've got, they had a series of really good quarterbacks. And as long as they had a good quarterback there, they were competitive to potentially try and make an SEC championship run. So, and Missouri right now is no different. They've got a lot of things going on over there. Heck, they've got a huge new stadium that they're or not a new one, but a huge renovation.
They're doing something similar.
It's massive, massive. It's going to look. I saw the renderings a while back. It's really cool, but that's a really talented team that Vandy had to go toe to toe with, and thank God we came on the right side of that one at the end because it was close.
Yeah, and man, it was tense. I mean, there was a few different times in that game where you go, I couldn't tell you what's about to happen here. I couldn't
think anybody could.
I couldn't tell you who's going to win this game. It's going to end in a weird way, and boy, it did.
It was such a chess match, man.
Yeah.
Such a chess match. It was good on good the entire game.
Yeah.
And
this is a game that defines the SEC where it's going to be tough for Vandy to go to Texas and win. It's going to be really tough for Missouri to go beat A&M.
Well, the thing I worried about a little bit with the games coming up and the remainder of Vandy season.
They're going to be similar to this one.
They're going to be very similar.
Auburn is going to be really similar to this one. Texas, their defense is solid. I don't think Texas's offense is as physical as Missouri likes to be, but Auburn is really physical. Kentucky's going to want to muddy it up.
Texas
Tennessee
likes to revolt, hang their hat on their skill players.
Right.
What I was saying a little bit about the games coming up that I think is going to be, we kind of, I wouldn't say, we struggled too much, but Missouri showed basically the game plan.
Yep.
And Alabama did too.
Alabama and Missouri.
Alabama and Missouri are, the scorecard for how you want to play us from a defensive perspective. Yeah. And both of them did it really well. I mean, you can make the case that Missouri did a better job because we didn't put as many points, or it was similar.
Right.
But Missouri did a lot of stuff to try and neutralize everything we could do on offense, and they did a good job of it.
Yeah.
We slightly did a better job than they did.
Yeah.
We got the result that we wanted, but there's so much to improve on. And every team that we play from now on is 110% going to be watching the Alabama game as well as the Missouri game to prepare for us. I know Sarkisian is probably sitting in his office in Austin, Texas, going through every single game that Coach Lee has played in or coached in here at Vandy and at Notre Dame, and also with Tim Beck and Jerry Kill. But they're going to be watching those two games from this season because they had success against us.
Yeah. The edges, when you've got dominant edge players on defense, Alabama did, Missouri obviously did. LSU's weren't all that bad either. But that's how you attack
all these guys.
Vandy offense.
Great talent everywhere.
Yeah. You had Bo Prabula's run to the 2-yard line. It was about a 20-yard run. This is still second quarter, but it was called back for tripping. I thought that was huge.
Yeah, they had two separate tripping calls.
Yeah, which it's rare to see one.
It's very rare to see one.
They had two called on them.
I mean, usually when I see
tripping is like I did that when I was in like 5th grade. It was my first ever penalty, and I will admit I might have done it on purpose too, but like that's
obvious for them to call tripping too.
Right.
Like you got to be, like laying on the ground, you just like stick your leg up trying to get someone to topple over.
But that forced a field goal for Missouri. They obviously made that one. That was the first one. And then you get to a little bit later in the second quarter, Trey Richardson's toe tap catch on the sideline was incredible. We forget about that play. Now, Vandy, they got points here. Yeah. That was the drive where Brock hit the 38-yarder.
Yeah.
That was big. Those 3 points. I mean,
that's exactly right.
And that was aided by that catch by Trey Richardson. I didn't initially think he was in. But you see the replay, and it was boom, boom. He got his left close. One in and then hit the
– I mean, we really watched the game. Like, if you looked at the score, I mean, it really looked like we were playing a game in the 50s. That was a 1950s type of score.
I thought you meant score in the 50s. Yeah.
No.
That was –
This is a 50s,
well,
60s.
I had one of my friends was at the game, and he was sitting on the Missouri side. He was texting me during the game. He was like, we've been imported to Big Ten football. Like I didn't know I came to the Iowa Minnesota game, because that's what it felt like. It was big time.
It was
punter.
Nick got some good.
He did.
Good
this is finally Nick.
And he did a good job.
I thought he punted well. Yeah.
Sometimes as a specialist, like there were games or times of the season where I wouldn't hit a field goal for like 2-3 games, and I'm like, and then I'll just so happens I'll have 3. And
you've got to wake up.
And you've got to wake up, and you have to always, you always stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
Yeah.
And always, it's like every week of practice, you're always preparing for, hey, I can expect 8 punts a game. I can expect 5 field goal attempts and maybe 7 or 8 kickoffs. So you always prepare for as much as possible. And every kick is as special as a game winner.
Yeah.
So everything's very serious and planned out, and you have your regimen and your way of doing things throughout the week. But Nick did a really good job because when you don't have as many opportunities on the field, it's natural to kind of like be like, all right, well, and kind of sit back a little bit during the game and not go through as much preparation. But good deal on him by staying loose and ready to go.
I thought he did well. I actually made a mistake. That same drive that Richardson made that catch, Vandy did not score. On that drive, it looked like they were about to take it.
Because I thought Brock's kick was a little bit later.
It was. So it looked like Vandy was about to take a 7-3 lead, but penalties killed him again. You had a holding on Bryce Henderson and Junior Sherrill on the same play. That was Pavia's scramble drill touchdown, which would have been wild. It was wild, but you saw 2 flags thrown, and you knew that wasn't going to be.
That's the thing. Like, even say we don't get that call back, we're in a very different ball game.
Yeah.
that changed the momentum a ton.
Yeah.
In a
And
tight
they didn't
game
even
like this,
score. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
And maybe Pavia doesn't score without the holdings, but
right.
yeah.
But at the same time, all things equal, we get a touchdown.
Yeah.
The
There was
margins
one
are
to
just
Caleb
so small.
Barnett.
Yes.
I think it was later in the game,
right.
a holding on Jordan White.
Yep.
Which did not affect the play at all. And
Yeah.
look, Missouri probably has a case for a lot of these too. I know a lot of Missouri fans weren't happy about the one on the edge with MK Young, but it went both ways.
The officiating was spotty, but there was also a lot of lack of discipline from a procedural standpoint.
It was one of those games
and tactical standpoint.
Yeah.
Because we were getting flagged all over the place, and sometimes it hurt us, sometimes it didn't. But in these types of games, heck, it could have very easily put us in the category of a loss.
Yeah.
We could have gotten to that point if these penalties really got that extensive.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, Joe, it's one of those games, with you playing football your whole life and being in games like this, where if a good amount of penalties have been called as a player, and say you've already, like Vandy had 5 in the first half. I think Missouri had 3. Yeah. And I forget what they were at the end of the game, but as a player, okay, he's been calling them. He's been calling these holdings. Right.
You got to adjust the way you play.
It felt like
that's as simple
that
as that
kind of game where if I try to draw a hold here, he may call it. And it just felt like one of those games where penalty prone. It
wasn't.
There was also some that weren't called.
There weren't too many procedural ones, pre-snap penalties. That will drive a coach insane. Yeah. Because they're so avoidable. It's just discipline. I would rather have a penalty happen during the play rather than before it. A false start and offsides. Maybe not enough guys on the line of scrimmage, so illegal formation. But the plays where you get penalties where it's actually happening and you got guys flying around and those things happen. They do. Yeah. Do you want them? Absolutely no. But you got to play in a way that is within the rules of the game. So sometimes you're going to have a crew that comes into town that just loves throwing the yellow flag. Yeah. There's crews out there that love doing it. I don't know if they love to hear themselves talk over the intercom in the stadium.
Well, did you see Ken Williamson, one of the longest tenured referees?
He was not the nicest cat.
What's the term that
he was not the nicest cat. Is it suspended
for the season?
He was suspended indefinitely. But I mean, he had repped a ton of the games that I played in. Yeah. And he was not always the nicest guy on that crew. And he had no reason not to be. It was I'm sorry it happened that way. I never wish, somebody to lose their job or anything like that.
Well, it's a tough job. It's an
extremely tough job.
But I do want to get to some of these comments rumbling through here, and then
we
got KO Joe. I'm putting my entire retirement on Vandy money line next week, and I'm putting the winnings into Hawk Tua coin. Is this a good investment?
That's about as risky as I've ever seen. And I've come across some really concentrated and risky portfolios, and that's funny though. I like that.
That's one of the better comments.
I tell you what, when you get older, you're still like maybe 14 or 15 years old at heart. So like I'm already an old soul, but I know when I'm about 65, I'm still going to be about 15 years old. Up, in my head.
Yeah, Midge says Joe and Billy, the new terrific twosome, baby. Thank you all for doing this.
Hell yeah,
much love. Midge also says Missouri best defensive line we faced all year and probably defense as a whole.
Here.
Yeah, I mean, probably better than Alabama. I think. I mean,
if not right up there, they are really damn.
And they
good.
had the luck of being able to look at that Bama film and go, okay, here's what.
Hell, everybody's got the opportunity to look at now.
Right.
They've got a lot. Every team they play from here on out is going to have their number and have had as much time to prepare as anybody and had some good games to watch. So, yeah.
Yeah. Justin says some people were saying the Pribula injury was a dirty play. I'm not sure, but what are your takes?
I can't speak about that. I didn't see
close
up of the play. I was in my, if you could call them nosebleed seats here in FirstBank. I mean, there's not a bad seat in the whole place, but I wasn't close enough to see.
Hey,
I didn't see.
Maybe eventually there's some nosebleeds. Clark on game day said
he
he would love to see this at a 60 to 70,000 seat capacity stadium.
I would love nothing more than that
Yeah.
as well. Now Coach Saban did address the elephant in the room that Vandy's needs to pony up and make some.
Well, I don't
happen to
know if
keep
it's an
Coach
elephant in
Lee
the room.
here.
I think it's pretty obvious that
it is
Vandy's going to
pretty
have to.
Right, and I don't want to speak too much on it, but
Yeah.
I thought it was cool that Saban was the first guy to bring this up, because when Coach gives his approval for a coach or gives recognition, he genuinely means it.
Oh yeah. And Saban's also on the Vandy bandwagon now.
Yeah, he's. I mean, what a way of saying it. He said a J-O, and then Pat McAfee was like, "There's a lot of things that could go with that, Coach. I'm glad you defined your own terms there."
On game day too.
Yeah,
that was on the McAfee, but on game day he got the crowd rowdy and said, "I'm on the Vanderbilt bandwagon."
No, he does. Yeah, so I think that was cool to see. Obviously I played for him at Bama and here at Vandy, so it was cool to see that kind of happen. It was awesome to see Coach Lee on game day sitting next to Coach.
It was cool.
Coach
I didn't
Saban.
know if they were actually going to do that, but because it wasn't on the initial schedule of game day, but and they typically do that with the home coach. But the play that Missouri fans have grabbed on Twitter and social media, Prabula's injury, which by the way, prayers for him. It does look like it'll be season ending, unfortunately for him. I thought initially it was his head slamming to the ground,
because I didn't see it move.
No, no, and
again from my nosebleeds over there.
Yeah. But it was his left ankle, and it does look season ending. But the play that fans found was Josh Singh grabbing his leg, and you can't tell what happens in the bottom of that pile. So I'm not going to sit here and say it was dirty. But this is SEC football. A capers comes in. It was kind of an old fashioned like clothesline where Singh has him by the leg at the bottom. Capers and Longwell, I think, come in and
those some big dudes flying
and bring him down. So look, I don't think it was particularly a dirty play.
Did you see the Scadabo injury?
I didn't see the Scadabo injury. Was that today?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. I mean, it was gruesome.
I hate that. I love Scadabo.
His ankle his foot was pointing a very different direction than it should.
Let's see here. I want to keep rumbling through some of these. We've got Mitch Trey made sure he caught that ball, which was really similar to the one he dropped last week. That's a good point on that toe tap.
Yeah.
The one last week appeared to be tougher since it was caught over his left shoulder. I couldn't have caught it. Yeah, I definitely wouldn't have caught that either. Let's see. Chief says SEC games are fixed. Not hard to see. I think they're so competitive, and there's so many big calls that are either not made or made that impact the game. You saw the one at the very end, the Hail Mary, and CJ Hurd after the game said, CJ Hurd after the game said, I went over to the ref and asked him, okay, if he caught the ball, was he in the end zone? The ref said no. So 1 yard line. And there were some jokes on Twitter too that the Titans, remember the Titans in the Super Bowl '99 were 1 yard short, and of course playing the St. Louis Rams back when they called it St. Louis. So Titans, the city of Nashville finally got one back on Missouri. But no, you got that. So I think that's a lot of what we've got so far. But Joe, I didn't get to rewatch the entire game. They had a little bit going on today, but second half wise, we talked about the CJ Hurd play. Obviously, Pavia's touchdown. You knew they were going to get in there on that drive,
right.
And you mentioned the Cedric fumble. It wasn't a fumble.
Yeah, everybody's heart racing a little bit.
Once Vandy goes up 17-10, how did you feel?
Because
I still didn't know how to feel. I'm like, hey, Missouri could go down.
Because I know in these types of games, things happen. Teams strike in a flash. Like, I think it was tied 10-10. Then MK got his touchdown, right? No,
it was 3-3 because that was third quarter. Missouri could have gone up 6-3 with that field goal, but Vandy gets the ball back, and then they take a 10-3. That's how low scoring it was.
Yeah,
it was still 3-3 halfway through the third quarter.
2 touchdowns on the Vandy side.
Yeah,
the whole game, which is crazy. But I was not sitting easy. I wasn't breathing easy.
The whole game. I mean,
the entire game. It was so close. You knew that in one play things could drastically change the outlook for the game. So with those margins so slim, I was not sitting sitting too pretty. I was kind of definitely what you would call edge of your seat entertainment.
Yeah,
I couldn't even sit down.
you mentioned some of the team stats. Third downs weren't that big of a difference. Missouri was 5 of 16. Vandy just 3 of 10. That needs to get better.
Really, Coach?
Fourth downs. Missouri was 4 of 5. Vandy didn't even attempt a fourth down play.
Well, they had the ball like twice as much as us, so they had more opportunity to go.
That's true. Time of possession.
Yeah,
Missouri 36, Vandy 23.
That's a little bit better than I thought. I think
turnovers
for us, like in the last few minutes of the game. But for those of you guys that didn't follow that too much, they controlled the time of possession.
They did.
They had our defense was on the field for so long in that game, and so that's why I'm so proud of the defense. Giving them a huge shout out to all those guys in the secondary and the linebacker room and the D-line guys. Man, hats off to y'all. Y'all played a hell of a game.
Yeah,
could not be prouder of you fellas.
Yeah. So third quarter, obviously Pavia throws the interception, but the defense responds. They stop Missouri. Vandy gets it back. They punt. And then Missouri gets it back. They miss that field goal, the chip shot. Then MK Young goes 80 yards. But then Missouri goes down, ties it up. Matt Zollers leads them on a 75-yard drive.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, that kid played well.
He played really well. He stepped in there, and they, I think they actually found more rhythm with him in there.
They did.
They did. Nice job.
Look, Prbula's a different type of player. He probably runs it better as a stronger runner than Zollers, but Zollers ran it well too. I mean,
I tell you what, all these Missouri quarterbacks, they all look the same, man.
They kind of do.
They all look the same. They're all a little shifty.
Brady Cook, same type.
Yeah.
Remember Chase Daniel?
Oh yeah,
he ran it well
Chase
too.
Daniel. Who's the guy with the Broncos now?
Bo Nix?
No. He played at Mizzou, or he was with the Broncos. And whatever.
Can't remember.
I don't.
Not Trevor Simeon.
No, it don't matter. But he was.
But you're right about the Missouri type quarterback.
Yeah, he was at Missouri when I was at Alabama, and he, Drew Lock.
Yeah.
They all look the same, dude.
He could run a little bit.
They could run, make stuff happen. Strong arms.
Yep. So Missouri ties it up. Vandy gets it back. They punt, and then the C.J. Hurd fumble. And then obviously the Pavia touchdown, and Vandy, there's still 2 minutes left after Vandy takes the 17-10 lead. Yeah. And that's kind of what I was asking you, like, man, Missouri could easily go down and score and tie the game. But the 7-point lead I thought was huge mentally.
Right.
Because if you're up 13-10, Missouri's thinking, okay, let's go win this game. Let's go score. But if a touchdown just ties it. And Joe, I'll say this. I think if Missouri goes down and scores, because they took 2 minutes. And Vandy's defense was.
We were battling for.
They were battling,
but
they extended that time. Yeah, I think Drinkwitz goes for 2.
I think he does too.
I mean, he played to win the whole game.
He did. He called a very aggressive game within their structure as a team. Even like you rattled off, like they were 4 or 5 on fourth downs.
Yeah.
To get into that position being fourth down.
A couple of them with Zollers, too.
Right. Yeah. You're controlling the clock, right? But you also have a lot of possession. So, if you're going for it on 5 fourth downs, you're controlling the clock a lot, which, I mean, they really did well on that. But you're also playing very aggressive. You're playing to an identity, trying to assert dominance over your opponent. And credit to Missouri, man. They're a really solid team. Yeah. And Coach Lee's given them a lot, and Coach Drinkwitz a lot of credit for what he's done over there. But man, that's a tough team. That's a tough team.
They're good,
and they're very solid all across the board. I think in these types of games, the specialist play really gets heightened.
Yeah.
We were pretty flawless on special teams. They had a hiccup or two here and there, and so that again was another margin where we could win and give us the result that we look for.
Some other numbers, obviously, Diego, only 10 completions, 10 of 19, 129 yards through the air, no touchdowns, 1 interception, but, scored the game-winning touchdown.
Right.
And
great leaders find a way to lead their team to the promised land when they don't have their A game.
Yeah,
and that's what he did.
And look, I think there's also, like, Ty Simpson didn't play great yesterday. If you go back and watch that one for Alabama, who's some other candidates. I think Mendoza played well, but they played UCLA.
Right.
Julian Sayin is
They're
rolling.
too busy hanging out on the beach at UCLA and stuff, and hanging out with Snoop Dogg or
with
whatever.
Neuheisel. Looks like one of those Beach Boys, the blonde hair.
Yeah, he does. He looks like what's his name? Brian Wilson.
He does.
The lead singer of the Beach Boys.
Yeah. He also looks like, I want to say my age.
Dude,
he looks younger
like
than me.
He looks like Tom Petty, brother.
He does.
He's about to crank out the guitar and play some Free Fallin'.
But rushing, rush for 136 yards. MK Young, 4K. How about this stat line? 4 carries, 86 yards.
I saw that stat. I saw the game line. I was like, that's a good one.
Cedric, 10
stuff happen.
Yeah, 10 carries, 27 yards. So they were keen on him too.
Yeah.
You could tell, and I don't think they were like when MK was in there, and I think Beck did a good job of mixing in when MK was in there. And I asked him about that play. I don't know if you remember from that play, the guard and tackle pull to the left side.
Mm-hmm.
MK goes off to that right side. So they don't typically do that. You don't see that a ton. Typically, you're pulling and you're running that way. Vandy will do it, but you had 2 great blocks, and Missouri fans think it was holding. Probably have an argument, but it wasn't called. But
Billy's pretty subtle about it. He'll acknowledge it when he sees it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but it was both sides.
Holding happens on every play. It's
exactly.
It really does happen on every play. So whenever you see, a bunch of people in the crowd, throwing their hands up, yelling for a holding call, holding happens on every play. It's just if the referee can catch it.
Yeah.
And they have to look at a lot of different things. Each guy has their own responsibilities that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Holding's going to happen every play, but it's usually not for too long. Only the blatantly obvious ones get called.
Yeah,
because it happens fast, and if your eyes aren't on it, you're going to miss it.
Yeah,
and that's just human like error there.
Yeah, you had Pavia 8 carries, 20 yards. I thought that was a huge, and we talked about that, but I thought just being able to limit him with his legs. That's a common theme, Joe. Anytime a defense limits Pavia on the ground, either Vanderbilt lost that game or it was a grind and a slugfest, and it was today.
The only one that stands out in my mind of not eye-popping stats, but we still got this. This was very similar to the Auburn win last year in my mind. What we saw.
It was
very similar to that. Not a high-scoring game, just enough to win. Pretty mundane type of offense and defensive game, back and forth. Trying just a struggle.
Yeah.
But I always felt like Vandy was somewhat in control.
Mm-hmm.
But heck, it really could have been anybody's game at several different points.
Yeah.
But it just kind of reminded me a little bit of Auburn last year.
Yeah, it
to a certain extent.
I mean, I think that could be similar in the Auburn game, here in a couple of weeks. But you're right about this game. I mean, it's hard to kind of break this one down because
there's not too much to talk about other than if you go over across the street, right behind or in front of where we're actually looking right now is the McGugin building. Yeah. So I could see.
Anybody in there?
I thought it was Coach Leapak, but it's not. But
all
the coaches are breaking down the film already, ready to go. They're going to find so much to correct, as they always do. I guess their job.
Yeah.
But they're going to be getting after it, breaking down the film, finding ways to get better. But from that standpoint, they're going to have a lot of stuff to correct.
Yeah.
Us, just watching as we see it, calling it as we see it, and how it happens. I also try and stay out of judging the play calls or performances, because as a player, that's the last thing you want is for people getting on your tail for that.
Yeah.
But also because and I would encourage everybody out there that listens to this podcast and is a Vandy fan, just for future reference, nobody knows the play call. Nobody knows where the players are supposed to be, why we called that, all the rationale that goes into it, all the hours that get put into every single game, every single week, to try and find an edge. So, we never, actually Coach Ogeron, I grew up with his boys and we played football in high school, and he would sit in the stands for some of our games. You wouldn't hear a peep out of him because he's a football guy. He knows. You don't know the play call. You don't know the defensive responsibilities. Maybe a guy slipped up, but you never know because you don't know the calls.
Right.
You don't know the situation, for the rationale behind the play call, what the players are supposed to do, all their responsibilities. So, I just enjoy the game now because, I guess I'm just an average Joe now. So, and this average Joe just enjoys getting to watch the game and cheering my teams on to victory. And Vandy, man, they've got so much success now and down the road. I think the sky's the limit, especially when you have so many great people in that building right there.
7-1, 3-1 in the SEC. Obviously, go to Austin, Texas next week for an 11 a.m. kick on ABC. So that actually, I forgot to mention that at the top. It got switched from SEC Network to ABC, so it's now
primetime game.
So I think Tessitore typically calls the 11 a.m. games, which love Tessitore. By the way, I went back, watched some of the game. Bob Wishoes and Louis Riddick were really good. I thought Louis Riddick, I out of the color analysts, sometimes with color analysts, they, especially if it's their first time doing a Vanderbilt game, they may not be as researched, but it looked like he had been doing Vanderbilt games all season and you know had a lot of notes on Hoskins and Isaiah Glass and players like that. So I thought he did a really good job. But to wrap up here, Joe, Justin in the chat said handicap the remaining games. So Texas next week. There's 4 games left, which is crazy. It's it's already late October. We're coming up on Halloween, and it's going to start getting colder here. So
that's part of the reason why we're not outside. Is one, it's getting dark, but also it's getting a little nippy out there. So
by the way, the West End Tower looks beautiful right here. Yeah, that's awesome.
It is really neat. I mean, the backdrop here and the views that you have from the new stadium are really quite something. Yeah.
So Texas next week. We've touched on that a little bit, but we'll start there. What's your thought on that matchup? And also Arch Manning got hurt.
Yeah, he's got a concussion.
He didn't play in overtime.
Right.
Was it late fourth quarter? I still need to go back and watch.
I didn't watch that game except for the couple highlights at the very end.
Okay, but he didn't play in overtime?
I don't believe so.
And I've heard from some Texas people.
Their backup played well.
Yeah, and they don't think Arch is going to play on Saturday. There's a shot he doesn't play.
Yeah. Honestly, I would be surprised if he does play.
Yeah.
I mean, very rarely do you have a guy who gets a concussion
and
is ready to go in 7 days.
But what I'll say about Texas and Sark, you could put me in that offense right now, and I think with those receivers, maybe not with that offensive line,
might see some success.
I'd probably get hurt like 3 plays in after getting sacked. But I think that's it's similar to Josh Heupel. It's a quarterback friendly offense. So I don't know how much drop off there is from Arch and you were talking about the backup. I don't even know who the Texas backup is.
So the Texas backup, from what I did, one thing that's great about the podcast that we do is it forces me to do my homework on the teams. So I did my homework a little bit earlier today on Texas and kind of just their outlook in this game. Obviously, they haven't been as dominant as they'd like to be given their track record the past couple of years. But so their quarterback actually came from Troy University down in South Alabama. Pretty darn good football program actually for the size of the school. But he's seasoned. I want to say he's maybe a junior, senior. So
Caldwell?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe he's been playing for quite some time. So, he may be 37 years old. Who knows? But I actually, when I was at Alabama, Coach Sark was there with me. We crossed over for maybe about 2-3 years, maybe.
Yeah. He's one of the best offensive minds in the country.
There's a reason why Coach Saban brought him in and gave him free reign with the offense at times. Man, he does a phenomenal job. They rely heavily on their skill players. He's extremely creative.
Yeah.
Within reason.
Matt Caldwell, by the way.
Yeah. He's. I would expect him to play.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for Arch, man. He's had a rough go at it this season. A lot of people create so many unrealistic expectations for players. The kid's, I don't know, maybe 19 years old or whatnot, and that you're expected to win the Heisman and just be everything and then some compared to the family name. I hate when they have that kind of bearing on their shoulders.
Yeah, that's brutal. There's a lot on him, and
now he just got his bell rung pretty good. So I doubt. I would hope that he doesn't play from a health standpoint, because a week after concussion is way too early. Those of you who have had a concussion, boy, you ain't ready to go in 7 days after it happens.
In the SEC,
just tell you that.
Yeah.
But Texas, they're going to do a great job. They got a great offensive line coach. They're going to be. They bring themselves ready to play for every big game. Like they played Ohio State, played them really, really close, and they ended up losing. But they go toe to toe with the best teams around, but they also have games where they let up and they slip up and they're in the position that they are now, where they have to kind of fight their way to get back to that playoff conversation. Because I mean, how many losses do they have? Like maybe two.
Yeah.
Two. So they basically have to win out to be in the playoff.
Yeah.
But they do a phenomenal job over there. A handful of those coaches were with me at Alabama. Great recruiters. They're always going to be a very talented squad, and the resources that they have at Texas are second to none.
Yeah.
My family doesn't love Texas, being a bunch of A&M people, but that's one of the things that I do enjoy now with the way of college football is you have these old school rivalries back in play. So A&M and Texas play each other again, so that's good. But I expect Texas to throw the kitchen sink, and who would have thought that? I mean, we probably felt a little bit different, but like, who on the outside would have thought that Vandy's going to come marching into Texas before the season ranked as number 9 team in the country, and Texas is not barely ranked?
20. Yeah,
they're 20. I mean, who would have thought?
Not me.
I would always bet on Vandy, but it's cool. It is really awesome to see. That
right now Texas favored by 2.5, according to FanDuel. By the way,
they're favored by 2.5.
Yep.
Wow.
If head on over to FanDuel, Joe. You can sprinkle some on there if you'd like.
Apparently, you can bet on anything these days as a college athlete.
Yeah, so it depends state by state. Like I was in Indiana, for the Notre Dame game a couple of weeks ago, and
the word on the street, man, is like you can gamble on anything now.
Well, so you can do player props. You can't do player props in college football in the state of Tennessee.
Guys can't bet on college games,
right?
Is
of course,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
But in Indiana, like if you're a fan, it kind of depends on that case. But so Texas, obviously next week. I'm fired up already for that. I mean, the stakes get higher for each of these games. I'm not. Okay. I'm kind of excited to just chill at home and watch one.
Oh, me too, man. So Miss Lauren, it's actually her birthday month. So her birthday is on the 29th.
Okay.
And
y'all do anything Saturday for it?
Yeah. So we've got some plans on Saturday.
Buckle up.
We've got to work them around the Vandy game.
You're not going to be at the pumpkin patch, are you?
Oh God, man. There's always talks about a pumpkin patch this time of year, but yeah. So with Lauren's birthday month, we have certain activities we have to do on Saturday, but we got to make sure it's not in line with the game.
Yeah. Well, I like these because it'll be over by 3:00.
There's something to be said for watching an away game, watching your team,
and
not having the whole game day, marathon day, that comes with it. So, but a lot of my buddies are going down to Austin. Got a really good friend or two from down that way that they're all kind of like hanging out with, crashing on the floors, doing the
whole shebang,
the whole cheap man hotel room or motel room, finding your buddy
air
and
mattress
cashing out on this floor with a pillow or something. That wasn't going to fly with Miss Lauren. So she was not on board with that. So
on her birthday weekend.
Or in her birthday month on her birthday weekend. Yeah. But that wasn't going to fly. So we're not going down to Austin, but we definitely shot the breeze about it.
Yeah. And then so Auburn comes here that next week, and then Vanderbilt gets a bye, and that will be much needed. After that, you rest up for Kentucky at home,
man.
And then you go to Knoxville.
We only have one bye week. Everybody's getting soft.
I think in the end, well, I think there's a lot of people that agree with you because I've heard that sentiment, throughout the country. But 2 bye weeks, and then obviously the Tennessee game. Joe, here's how I look at it: Auburn and Kentucky, you're going to be favored over. You're not favored at Texas. That could shift to more of a pick 'em. Obviously, the home field gives Texas an edge there. So neutral site, it'd be a pick 'em. Yeah,
I'm just surprised they're favored at all because Texas hasn't shown any consistency.
They've
shown flashes of greatness, and they've shown flashes of very mediocre.
I think there's
play.
A chance, Joe, that Vandy comes in and dominates them.
And Billy,
but
I would love to see that happen every day of the week, plus the 8th day of the week. Anytime Vandy runs up the score on anybody, it's a great day. And then when LSU loses too, it's also another great day. I'm just kidding, but I think they have every. If they want to run, blow them out, they'll have an opportunity to separate.
Yeah, and then Tennessee in Knoxville. I think if
that's
you beat all,
a hard-fought game regardless.
That's going to be a war.
How good Vandy is at that point in time in the season, which I anticipate them being even better than they are now.
That's going to be. And if both teams are 9-2,
That's what I mean.
Oh my gosh.
I believe that Tennessee is going to get better as the season goes on because they usually have in years past.
Yeah.
They're a really talented team. They've got everything that they need to be successful in making a playoff run.
Yeah.
Right there over in Knoxville. So do not count that team out. Do not overlook them. Obviously, we here at Vanderbilt never overlook them, and they never overlook us.
Yeah.
It's a rivalry game, and that rivalry has certainly been kicked up a few notches in the past couple of years. So it's going to be a great game over in Knoxville. I wish it was here.
Yeah.
It makes it really easy. You know, I live 3 minutes away from here, so it's not too hard. I can literally just walk here if I want to. But yeah, I'm not. I don't know if I'll be wandering over to Knoxville.
You're not the big.
game.
You're not a big Knoxville guy.
I don't like Knoxville, man.
Yeah.
The orange is just a little too ugly for me. I don't know if like my vision will be altered by seeing so much of that ugly orange, and I don't want to put myself at risk. So,
well, I don't blame you, Joe. We this has been fun. We good comments and questions, and apologies for some of the camera issues there at the beginning. And
it's Billy's first day; he's just still learning.
Yeah, no, I'll make sure we straighten that out. But glad we got a lot of it straightened out. Wrap it up with your theme. Obviously, we had a sort of a joke question for the theme from somebody earlier. Well, it was the Hawk Tua coin. Is that a good investment?
Oh, yeah.
Don't think that's a great investment, but
I would definitely not give my stamp of approval for it.
But what you got this week, Joe?
Well, a good bit of my clients that I work with are either business owners or self-employed. So at some point in your career, if you're a business owner, there comes a point in time where you have to start thinking about a succession plan, whether that's selling the business, handing it off. But the biggest thing to know when that question does come and you're in that time frame of figuring out what that succession plan or exit strategy is going to look like, it's really important to have a proper valuation done of your business, right? A lot of business owners have no idea the ballpark of their true value for their company. And you never want to get into a position where you're implementing your exit strategy and say your valuation is way lower than it actually is. You say like, we got to appraise and evaluate it, and it's this company's worth X when it's actually worth 3X what you anticipated. So we have the resources at our disposal to help facilitate that, and so that you can navigate with confidence of when you want to implement that exit strategy, whether that's sooner, what that looks like for you in retirement, later, how that affects you. So we're happy to lend a hand in any way, shape, or form in that. And then coming up, I think in the next few weeks, we're going to talk about 1031 exchanges that are really, really popular, especially in the real estate business, because we also have things at our disposal that can alleviate the or actually work hand in hand with a 1031 exchange, and also have you get tremendous amount of growth with the investment strategies while also being a tax-deferred strategy as well. So we'll touch a little bit on that in the coming weeks. I think that might be next week's theme.
There you go.
But for anybody who has a business out there or is self-employed and wants to talk about an exit strategy and how we can add value and evaluate your company's position, we're more than happy to do so.
And you can also learn more at raymondjames.com/Bulovas Wealth Management. Check out the website is phenomenal. All kinds of information. And Joe, your email. I mean, your email, that might be a good one too if somebody wants to email you.
Yeah,
I know
my email is joe.bulovas@raymondjames.com. And if you go on my website, we have tons of resources there for any questions you might have.
Yeah. Y'all have got like a question box.
We do. Yeah. You can contact me directly from there, but we have a lot of resources, market updates, things to consider for retirement planning, estate planning. Maybe it's sending your kids to college, those 529s, some simple information, some do's and don'ts, best practices type of information. So if you have a question, chances are there's material on my website that might address that.
Yeah.
But I'm always happy to sit down with anybody and point them in the right direction. I'm in the business of helping and serving, and I wanted to do that because I did so long with football, and now I get to do that and actively help people in their lives. So
in the great city of Nashville.
That's right.
Joe Bulovas
coming
at you live, and after a heck of a weekend. You had game day, and that was a heck of a scene, but the game obviously ugly. Vandy gets it done, 17-10, 7-1 overall, 3-1 in the SEC. We'll be getting you ready for Vandy in Texas throughout the week over on the site. And we'll be back with you guys next Sunday, maybe again, we've been working on getting a special guest eventually in here. We do only have 2 mics. So that's a little bit of the issue, but we again want to continue to evolve and add to this thing and bring guests in and we may talk more about that, into the offs, like after the season and talk a little bit about that. But
we also want your feedback on that too.
Right.
So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, we want to address that as well. We want this show to be for you guys and to make it as good as possible. So by all means.
Yeah. That's Joe Bulovas. I'm Billy Derrick. Thanks again for joining us tonight. We'll see you guys next week on another episode of Star V Sundays.
Anchor down. Sweet.